when Lewis Hamilton signed with Ferrari for the 2025 Formula One season. It was clear that this move would be one of the most significant in modern F1 history. The 7-time world champion had spent over a decade at Mercedes, dominating the sport and becoming synonymous with their success. But if Hamilton had thought that his days at Ferrari would mirror those at Mercedes, which he had grown so comfortable with and accustomed to, then he must have been gravely mistaken. Because Ferrari had a completely different plan for him, one that would not only require him to adapt to their car, but also demand a complete reprogramming of his racing mindset. To do this, Ferrari would need to do some job on his brain and rewire his instincts to Ferrari's way of doing things. Hamilton's first real taste of Ferrari came at the team's Fiorano test circuit on Wednesday. The cold, rainy conditions weren't ideal for testing, but the moment Hamilton fired up the engine of the 2023 Ferrari, there was a sense that history was being written. And as he drove through the garage for the first time in Ferrari red, Hamilton was hit with a wave of emotion. It wasn't just the new surroundings that affected him, but the sheer weight of the legacy that Ferrari represented. It reminded me of the very first time I tested a Formula One car, Hamilton later said, reflecting on how he felt like a rookie again, despite his nearly 20-year career. The moment was surreal. Hamilton had driven countless cars in his time, machines from all over the world, powered by different philosophies, but this was something else. Ferrari's reputation, its history, and its passion all converged in that moment. His lap time was a respectable 1 minute flat, but it didn't fully reflect the challenges he was facing. The cold and wet conditions certainly played a role, making it hard for Hamilton to gain full confidence on the track. However, it was clear that there was something deeper at work here. Hamilton was essentially driving a car that felt like it was from a different world. The Ferrari was a stark contrast to his Mercedes experience. It was awe-inspiring, he said of the experience. When I started the car up and drove through that garage door, I had the biggest smile on my face. The passion runs through their veins, and you can't help but be energized by it. But despite the joy of the moment, Hamilton was aware of the task at hand. This wasn't just a chance to feel the thrill of driving a Ferrari. This was a pivotal moment in his career. Every lap in the Ferrari was more than just a physical test, it was a mental one. He had to learn, unlearn, and adapt. The Ferrari was unlike anything he had ever driven before, and in many ways, it was asking him to completely forget everything he had mastered at Mercedes. His body certainly knew the motions, but the connection between man and machine had to be rebuilt from scratch. But most significantly, Ferrari had already set in motion an incredible plan to erase the mental ties Hamilton had built with Mercedes over the years. Ferrari's plan to erase Hamilton's memory began long before he took to the track. Behind the scenes, they prepared a comprehensive simulator program designed to push Hamilton's boundaries and distance him from his past. According to La Gazzetta dello Sport, Ferrari used different configurations and adjustments, deliberately tweaking suspension calibrations, engine maps, and load levels to make Hamilton feel as though he was driving an entirely new machine. The goal was clear: to mentally distance Hamilton from Mercedes by overwhelming his senses with an entirely different experience. It said that Ferrari simulated various configurations that were deliberately very distant from each other, the Italian publication reported, referring to the wide range of changes Ferrari made to the car's settings. Hamilton, who had spent the last 12 years driving for Mercedes, had reportedly built a sensory memory of their car. Ferrari needed to break this bond. Inside Ferrari's high-tech simulator, Hamilton's task was not just to learn how to drive the Ferrari. He was being trained to forget Mercedes. Each session was designed to rewire his instincts, to break the old mental patterns that had helped him dominate the sport. According to La Gazzetta dello Sport, Ferrari didn't just make minor adjustments. They used simulations of the SF24 in its end-of-season configuration, going so far as to intentionally simulate setups that were drastically different from Mercedes engineering. This included manipulating suspension stiffness, engine mapping, and aerodynamic load levels, all of which would overwhelm Hamilton's senses and force him to abandon his familiarity with Mercedes simulator tools. The strategy was as bold as it was necessary. As Ferrari pushed Hamilton to adapt to the new car, they were also pushing him to think and react like a Ferrari driver, not a Mercedes driver. Ferrari's intent was clear. They weren't just bringing in a world champion, they were shaping a new era with him at the helm. Hamilton's familiarity with the Mercedes car's unique nuances, the braking points, the throttle response, the car's general feel on track, had become second nature. Ferrari's goal was to completely recalibrate Hamilton's instincts and force him to adapt to a car with a fundamentally different character. As La Gazzetta dello Sport reported, Ferrari sought to erase the sensory memory of Hamilton's experiences with the Mercedes simulator, meaning that even the smallest technical details would be calibrated to push Hamilton out of his comfort zone. In addition to the simulator work, Ferrari focused on practical tests at their Maranello factory. There, Hamilton worked with engineers to fine-tune the car's fit and ensure every detail of the cockpit was adjusted to his liking. Ferrari made sure he was comfortable, but more importantly, they were building an environment that would push him to think differently. As part of his integration, Hamilton participated in a series of simulator sessions, each one designed to increase his mental adaptability. Briefings with the engineers followed each session, ensuring that Hamilton's feedback would be integrated into the team's understanding of his driving style and preferences. Ferrari's ultimate test for Hamilton would come later in 2025, when he would drive the 2025 car in an official test. This momentous occasion would mark a pivotal step in his career, as it represented not just a new chapter with Ferrari but also the culmination of months of behind-the-scenes work to integrate him into their fold. Before that, however, Hamilton would be given more chances to acclimatise to the team's machinery. He would take part in a more intense, 3-day test in Bahrain at the end of February, an event that would be closely scrutinised by both the media and fans alike. La Gazzetta dello Sport noted that Ferrari was preparing to simulate the 2025 car's specifications in their advanced simulator before its official unveiling, on February 19, 2025. This state-of-the-art technology would allow the team to fine-tune every aspect of the car, offering an extremely detailed and realistic experience that would make Hamilton feel like he was driving the real thing. This simulator work was crucial for the team to ensure that by the time the car was revealed and Hamilton took to the track, they were fully prepared for any challenges. This whole process of mental and physical reprogramming wasn't just about Ferrari's car, it was about Ferrari's culture in its entirety. The red of the Scuderia, the roar of the engine, the energy of the fans, and the legacy of the prancing horse itself are all woven into the very fabric of the team. And as Hamilton spent more time with Ferrari, it became clear that Ferrari was more than just a machine. It was a community that demanded loyalty, passion, and precision. It wasn't enough to just understand the car. Hamilton had to embody the essence of what Ferrari stood for. They weren't simply interested in shaping his driving style, they wanted to shape his identity, to make him feel like part of a family with a history as rich and intricate as any dynasty. Ferrari wanted him to dive deep into the philosophy of their racing DNA, to embrace the drive for victory that had made legends out of drivers like Schumacher, Lauda, and Villeneuve. There's no doubt that Ferrari had gone to great lengths to reset his mind and body, to erase the muscle memory of years with Mercedes. Whether this gamble would pay off, only time would tell. But one thing is certain. Ferrari had done everything they could to help Hamilton forget the past and embrace the future. It will now be up to him to write the next chapter of his storied career, and we will be here as always to keep you on track with all the latest developments. This is Front Lockout, signing off.